This started about a week ago and it's seriously messing with my life. I'm unable to sleep and I'm scared to be in my house alone, even in daylight. I was sleeping and got woke up by my mobile phone ringing. I picked it up and checked the number, my mind instantly turning to thoughts that something bad had happened to a family member, but the number that was displayed was not one that I recognized, so it was not my family calling to give me bad news. I ignored it and thought that if the call was important that they would leave me a voice message, but they didn't. They just continued to ring my phone constantly. As soon as the call would go to voicemail, they would cancel and call again. After ignoring about 10 calls hoping that they would just stop calling or would leave a message, I picked up. As soon as I accepted the phone call, there was a voice. They were not saying anything that I could understand. It was like a faint rant in gibberish. There were no words that I could make out. I was blunt and said that I was angry and that they better have a good reason for ringing me so many times at such an early hour. But they seemed to take no notice and just continued to rant in some unknown or made-up language. But there was another noise now. It was like the sound of a piece of metal scraping against stone. It began to grab my attention more and more, and being annoyed, I snapped and shouted, "What the hell do you want, and what the hell are you doing in the background?" They found something about this funny and broke into a hellish giggle as if they had regressed into a little girl. After being on the phone for around 3 to 5 minutes, I decided enough was enough and said that I didn't have time for pranks. I told them I was blocking the number and I hung up and blocked the number immediately. I soon fell back asleep and slept through until morning with no other problems. But the next night I had nearly forgotten what had happened, so I went to bed with my phone next to me as normal. To my annoyance, I was woke up again by the sound of my phone ringing, but I knew that I had blocked the number, so checking my phone, it now displayed a new number which I didn't recognize. Instead of waiting to see if they left a message, I picked up as soon as I could when I was forced to move the phone away from my ear, as an almost demonic laughter came flooding through the phone, and I could hear the sound of furniture being moved in the background. This continued until the sound of glass breaking changed everything. Now I was horrified. First I didn't know what was happening, but then I realized that something was even more strange. I heard the glass break twice. As I was tired, I didn't understand straight away, but I soon came to the conclusion that I had heard the glass break through the phone and from inside my own home. All of the rooms in my house are on one level, but I do have a doorway with some stairs leading down into the basement, and I knew that this was where the sound came from. The laughter stopped after the sound of the smash, and soon the voice just began to say, for a really long time. I knew that whoever this was in my house, and I think they knew that I knew. I ran from my bedroom and blocked the door with a heavy bookcase, half expecting to be attacked before managing to put it in front of the door. I had been too scared to move the bookcase, and when I called the police, they refused to check on me because there was no signs of a break-in and no noise coming from the basement. The police in my area suck, and I have no idea what to do. Do I just leave the bookcase in place and hope that if there is someone down there that they will be contained? Or do I arm myself with whatever I can and go into the basement to try and see if anything or anyone is there? I can't sleep. And last night, the phone call started again. I didn't answer. I just let it ring all night long.
I'll remember this day for the rest of my life, because it really made me who I am today. It was about 3 p.m., as I had just gotten out of school for the day. I had to walk home as my parents had to work, and I didn't like taking the school bus. My uncle dropped me off at school every day, and usually picked me up when no one else could. Today, as I left school, I was feeling really down. I never excelled at school, and didn't have many friends. Now, I wasn't bullied or anything like that, but just wasn't popular. Well, like I said, I was feeling really down and depressed. Today, I found out I was nearly failing a class. I knew I was close, but didn't know I wasn't going to make it. I was trying my hardest, but just still couldn't get it. And being a junior, I was worried about getting into a college the next year. I don't know why I was so stressed this particular day, but I couldn't shake the feeling as I walked. Just my mind going in circles, and me feeling like a failure. As I walked, my phone went off. I dug it out of my pocket and checked it. My uncle was calling me. Now, I was pretty close to my uncle. He was more like a friend to me than a relative, someone I could always talk to. I answered the call. He seemed different today. He had a happy yet very somber tone to his voice. He asked me how I was doing in school, and said that I seemed like I was upset when he dropped me off earlier today. I told him about class and how it was stressing me out. He told me not to worry about it, and that he knew I could do it. No matter how cliche that sounds, it really improved my mood and made me feel hopeful. The rest of the 10-minute walk to my house, I just talked to him, joking around, laughing, and then having about as much fun as you could talking to a friend on the phone. I got inside my house and took my shoes off, saying, "Alright, I'm home. I'll talk to you later, Uncle Scott," and hung up with him. I spun around with a smile on my face to see my family all sitting there, staring at me. My mom covered her face and left the room. That's when my dad approached me and said, "Son, why did you do that? It's not a joke. Your mom is really upset." I looked around to see everyone was now scowling. I asked my dad what he was talking about. He told me, "You, pretending to be on the phone with your uncle." I told him I was, and I didn't see the problem with it. After a bit of convincing, my dad asked me, "You really don't know?" I shook my head no. He informed me, "Son, your uncle was killed in a car accident this morning, right after he dropped you off at school."